Well met, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Hearthstone Legendary Series. Interesting reaction there, TJ.
I am Gigabyte.
Yes, TJ is Gigabyte. Definitely want to thank our sponsors for their continued support of the Hearthstone Legendary Series. Of course, again, if you're just tuning in, I'm Cameron Camdozer Reed filling in for Frodan here, who is out of town. It's been a crazy week of tournaments, actually.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, up next, we are going to have the losers and the winners match of Group A. In fact, if we go ahead and take a look at the groups right now, a really surprising result in our last match.
Yeah, Lemurian actually took the match over Kolento 3-0. And earlier we saw Tom take the match over Luffy 3-1. So, pretty one-sided matchups for both, I'd say. Luffy actually had some advantageous matchups that he ended up losing. And Kolento, I mean, he got a little bit unfortunate in some of the matches, but Lemurian just, it felt like he, even though he made mistakes, his deck choices and his matchups were just fantastic.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking, is that even though he did wind up having that one really brutal turn where he kind of miscounted, he daggered up, so he wasn't able to Blade Flurry.
Yeah.
It still was one of those situations that always feels terrible when you're playing Hearthstone at home, and you see your opponent make some sort of a fairly bizarre play. You kind of know in your head that couldn't have been the best play he had, but I can't do anything to punish him right now.
Or you're thinking, wow, his hand must be scary.
That could be true, too.
He's not playing on curve.
Yeah.
He's making weird plays. He must have some crazy combo, so I'm going to play safe. But most of the time.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't a mistake. It was just mind games.
He knew.
Although we could see his camera, we knew it was a mistake.
He had like 8 cards left in his deck. He's like, yeah, I know. If I calculate this damage here, 2 plus 6 minus 7 plus 8, I'm going to have exact lethal with no cards left if I make this play.
Looking forward so many turns in advance.
Calculated.
Such high-level stuff there.
He's a smart dude. He's really young. He's 23, graduated from UC Riverside with a chemistry and biology degree. And I mentioned earlier he's a pharmacy student. It's pretty intense stuff, pretty hectic stuff.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, to just be wrecking nerds.
Yeah, just
all
be
over the
crushing
ladder.
face in Hearthstone, playing semi-pro level Hearthstone.
Yeah.
It's really impressive stuff. Now, up next, we're going to have Kolento versus Luffy.
Okay.
How does Kolento bounce back after that? He's just got to be so disappointed right now after that match.
He is, but he's lost matches before. Kolento is not a player. He's not. I wouldn't call him an emotional player. There's some players where they're very emotional. When they lose matches, you can tell that it affects them. They go on tilt. Kolento always has the same demeanor, and whether he loses a match or wins a match, he knows that it's all part of the game sometimes. And so I don't think it's really going to affect him that much. I think he's going to come into this match with a clear head. Luffy, on the other hand, he's only been tested in open tournaments where he's at home, he's not in front of a webcam or anything. He can go outside and start punching walls if his opponent top decks without anybody even knowing. Like, he can walk off, throw down his chair and kick his computer. Like, he can do whatever he wants, but in this case, well, we don't have webcam anyway, but I guess we can tell if his computer just disconnects after he gets top decked. We know what he did.
How shocked do you think he is to see that it's Kolento that he's up against in his losers match?
Yeah. He's probably like, that match was quick.
Yeah.
You guys were playing for like 30 minutes.
Oh, man, Kolento must have wrecked weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be, first up, is going to be Luffy's Paladin versus Kolento's Priest. Kolento seems to like to open up with the Priest.
Yeah, well, I talked about it a little bit earlier in that Gamers Assembly tournament that happened last week. He had a lot of success with the Priest. He crushed the whole tournament with his Priest. And there was some pretty good players there. There's a lot of European players, some French players like Luello, and some others. That there's a lot of different European players that are really good that were at that tournament. And he cleaned up. And it wasn't really publicized very much. It wasn't broadcasted that much. He tweeted out like, oh yeah, just so you guys know, I won Gamers Assembly. Like, that was his tweet. And he did it with the Priest pretty much, so I'm not surprised he's really confident in it after that win.
Yeah. And now in this matchup, I feel like Priest has a pretty good shot in general versus Paladin.
Yeah.
For probably a lot of the same reasons that it has a good shot versus Shaman. There's just a tons of ways to clear the board and to remove everything. And there's also plenty of targets in the average Paladin deck for those Cabal Shadow Priests.
Yeah. It's a little bit better of a matchup against Priest than Shaman is because a lot of the times more of their threats are stickier or more of their threats are harder to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that you have to be worried about, though, is there's a couple things. The Thought Steal into Aldor Peacekeeper, into Cabal Shadow Priest, your Tyrion.
However unlikely, it's definitely a possibility.
In the first week.
Yeah.
Right after Hype said, he's like, oh yeah, big thing in this matchup, Aldor Peacekeeper, Cabal Shadow Priest. I was like, that never happens.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, it happened. You wouldn't think it happens a lot, but I mean, Thought Steal, it doesn't have that many cards to steal.
Mm-hmm.
And you know Tyrion's going to come out eventually. You have a Cabal Shadow Priest all the time.
Right.
Even Mind Control on the Tyrion is really annoying.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
A lot of times you're just like, oh, just keep Tyrion in my hand.
Yeah.
It's like it's a liability almost.
Yeah, like maybe try to play Sylvanas, even though you hate seeing silences and early removals used on her.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be used on her, I think, in this match than on Tyrion.
Yeah, that's for sure. So you could see he held off on the hero power on turn 2 to deny the draw.
Yeah. And this is a really good early game going for Kolento here, kind of denying the muster for battle by throwing out that Pyromancer early and forcing the Peacekeeper. It still feels pretty good there. It doesn't seem that good on the surface because a lot of times you want to save it for something really scary.
Yeah.
But just having it as a body that can trade with both of those and still live to tell another tale seems pretty good here.
And also making that Pyromancer deal 1, you're sort of forcing your opponent to have a spell.
Right.
To be able to deal with that Aldor Peacekeeper. And then trading also. So now he's sort of forced to... he's going to coin out and look for some cards here.
Oh, wow. He's going to pick up quite a few.
Indeed he is. And he's actually going to be able to trade into this. He could trade into it, but...
I don't think he will. I guess having both Northshires on the board potentially runs the risk of overdrawing, so there is merit probably to trading both of those back into it and just having a single cleric out.
Yeah. Wow. He's got a full hand now.
Yeah.
That's effectively what that did. And now, he can trade here, injured Blade Master. Next turn he can Light of the Naru plus heal up to make a big Light Warden. This is a really strong early game presence here for Kolento.
Which is really, I think, uncommon in this match, too. Most of the time, I feel as the Priest versus the Paladin.
Yeah.
I'm just, oh gosh, it's going to be a Zombie Chow on turn 1. It's going to be a Mini Bot on turn 2. He's going to coin out a Piloted Shredder on turn 3.
Piloted Shredder is like the bane of Priest's existence.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, he doesn't have enough mana to use the Light of the Naru in this situation. But I don't think he's too upset about it. The worst thing that can happen on turn 5 would be like a True Silver. True Silver doesn't really do much. Or like a Sludge Belcher, which again doesn't really do much because the Akanai Soul Priest trades really great into Sludge Belchers.
Yeah. So Luffy's options here, he could Consecration. And then just throw his Peacekeeper into the Akanai, leaving Kolento with just a 1/1 on board.
Yep.
But then that doesn't use all of his mana, and it's really not the cleanest Consecration ever, especially when you've got the Equality combo in hand already for it, and you want it to really, really just ruin your opponent's day when you play that.
Yeah. The bad part about that is if you're sort of conceding another turn, by not really developing anything, then you're really not going to be in a position where Priests aren't going to like flood the board. They're just going to keep what they have and just play really reactively unless they know that they can like push for a win.
Sure.
So I like this play because he's protecting his dudes by killing off the Akanai Soul Priest.
Yeah.
He's only using one piece of the combo, so he's holding on to the Consecrate, but he's still developing his board and threatening Quartermaster.
Well, Holy Nova coming off the top for Kolento. Seems pretty clear.
Yeah. I mean, he might be thinking about some type of Shadow Madness, but
no, there's much higher impact Shadow Madnesses available.
It was worth some thought, but Holy Nova obviously the best play in that situation.
Yeah.
And there goes his hopes and dreams of being able to play Quartermaster effectively.
Yeah. It's going to be a while. He's going to need to really kind of start utilizing that hero power over and over again to try to build up a bit of a presence there. All right, Sylvanas going down. I like it.
I always feel weird playing Sylvanas into a Sludge Belcher, though, because it's so easy to be able to clean up the Sylvanas without actually, like, giving him anything worth something. I mean, it's almost as bad as, like, playing a Sylvanas into, like, an Ancient of Lore or something, where he got so much value out of it, it's just going to trade 1 for 1.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I look at Sylvanas, and I almost at this point have stopped even imagining that I'll wind up stealing something.
Yeah.
Because she's been in the game for so long. Everybody knows she's there.
Yeah.
And everybody knows how to deal with her pretty effectively. So I've almost, like I said, given up on the chance that, okay, maybe she'll steal something and I'll get insane value.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'm just like, you know, she's a big body that can a lot of times do some pretty effective killing for me.
And it forces your opponent into some tough situations.
Absolutely.
Could make them misplay. There's a lot of things that could happen. Okay, now this is tough. The play that I saw immediately was just kill the Sludge Belcher, steal the Sludge, and then you could even light of the Naru your own Sylvanas. It would put it back to full health and you wouldn't steal the Light Warden, but it'd make it so that your opponent wouldn't be able to kill off your Sylvanas easily in order to guarantee a good trade for them.
Right.
The Sylvanas is making this really problematic, though. His opponent's Sylvanas.
Right.
Luffy's Sylvanas.
Okay, so he's going to probably just take the 1/2 and then go face with his own Sylvanas.
Yeah. Luffy's at 15 health.
Yeah.
He's playing against a priest.
How did that happen? That's what I'd be asking myself.
That's just the pressure that happens early on. A lot of the times, Paladins leverage the Light's Justice that they get from Must Every Battle earlier on to help clear off creatures. And Priest's board can be very tough to take down if they get the initiative first, because they can just heal up their creatures, and usually things won't be left at 1 health for you to just be able to clean up easily with the Light's Justice. And so a lot of times you end up taking a lot of damage trying to clear those things. And he thought stole a lay on hands. That could be the weirdest Akanai Soul Priest burst that you'll ever see.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So your Akanai has to live a turn, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless he's got Thaurissan in there.
But you'll never expect it.
Yeah, you'll never see that coming.
Like, I'm at 10 health. All he's got is an Akanai on the board. He's already been through his zombie chows. Nope.
That's definitely one of those rage quit moments.
Lay on hands, ping. What?
Yeah, this is a tricky situation for Luffy. Now, okay, so Luffy's, if I'm not mistaken, Sylvanas went down first. Kolento played his Sylvanas.
Yeah.
So then if Kolento runs Sylvanas into Sylvanas, because Yodog, I heard you like Sylvanas.
Yeah.
Then Kolento's will get the second steal.
Yeah.
And Luffy's will have nothing to steal.
Yeah. But there's a chance it could steal the 1/1, because that 1/1 is kind of hard to deal with. I mean, he could Cabal Shadow Priest the 1/1, hit the Sylvanas, but then he risks losing something important and then not stealing something important back.
Right.
Or not stealing the important one back. Like, he could end up stealing the one, or having the opponent steal something crazy and then him only stealing back.
Well, he would either get the Cabal back or he would get the Shredder. Both of them.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
This is another way to do it as well. Any way that he can eliminate the 1/1 from the equation and make it so that he eliminates the possibility of his opponent getting something good.
Right. Yeah, all he would get in that situation.
Yeah. Oh, he gets the 4-3.
Nice.
Yeah. This was probably the best way. Oh. We were wrong.
We had it reversed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There you have it.
This is
Still winds up with the shredder at the end of the day.
We were talking about the plays the other way around, but this is obviously the best play considering, I guess, we had the Sylvanas backwards. So
Yeah.
he still ends up with pretty much the same situation that he did earlier, except now he has 3-2 on the board also. So it's a little bit better of a situation for Kolento than we had originally assumed.
That's right.
Ouch. This is going to clear.
Yeah.
But he's at 11
See
health.
what the shredder comes out with.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's pretty good for him.
Yeah. Okay, so at this point, the priest probably wants to start putting on crazy pressure here, is what I would be thinking.
Yeah. First of all,
So
we
there's
have to
Go ahead.
see if there's a potential lethal.
That's exactly what I was trying to think. Maybe some sort of a Shadow Madness. But then I always forget that when you Shadow Madness the opponent's Pyromancer, he winds up taking his effect and dealing 1 damage to everything.
Yeah.
As though he was on your side of the board
Yeah.
the whole time.
He did have Light than R as well, so that's an extra 3 damage burst.
Look at this. He's setting up the Lay on Hands
The
dream.
Lay on Hands finish.
The Lay on Hands
no.
dream could come true.
And he doesn't have, unless he rags and hits the Arcanine, he doesn't have a way to deal with it. Oh, he
he
concedes!
just concedes
Oh,
immediately
no.
anyway.
He didn't give Kolento the opportunity
That's
for
too bad. That would have been a lot of fun.
it. Yeah. Oh, well. Hearthstone players aren't about fun.
No, very
Apparently.
serious.
Yeah. But that's a little bit of a turnaround for Kolento.
Yeah.
Managing to take the win with the Priest. He's going to get that one out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now left in Kolento's lineup is a Druid and a Warrior.
Mhm.
So probably both pretty just traditional versions of both of those. I would expect probably fast Druid that he, assuming at least that he snuck Thorisan in there.
Yeah.
You know, and then a Warrior. Now, the one interesting thing for Warrior is the Grim Patron is out now, and I've definitely seen that a couple times on the ladder. What are your thoughts on the potential of Grim Patron as a Control Warrior expert, as you claim to be?
I tried Grim Patron in Control Warrior for quite a long time, because there's some leeway cards they have in Control Warrior. Control Warrior has been around for so long, it's one of the most refined decks out there. You have very reasonable choices of what to take out, and cards, like 22 cards that are automatic includes. And so I tried taking out, I can't even remember, like Second Sludge Belcher and putting in a Grim Patron, just for that little bit of extra mid-game like burst or pressure. Because there's a lot of matchups out there right now where, as a Control Warrior player, you can't just play reactively the whole time. Like against Rogue, you need to sort of pressure at some point. And so trying to take that out there, maybe getting a couple of them with like a Deathbite charge.
Right.
Just to have some bodies on the board, put out some mid-game pressure. It was okay, but I wouldn't say it was substantially better or worse than anything else that I could have put in for that's normally played in Control Warrior.
All right, so Luffy going to stick to the Paladin versus Kolento's Druid, which is a match that I would say maybe probably potentially favors the Paladin.
Yeah, I'd say so. It depends on if it's a ramp Druid, then yes, definitely it favors the Paladin, because they just have so many ways to push through big taunts with the qualities. But if it's fast Druid, if the Druid gets a good start, they can sometimes just that's just Druid. They do that against anybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
But Paladins have a lot of ways to turn their small things into little larger things.
Yeah.
Sort of like shamans who can use Flame Tongue Totems. They can turn their dudes into bigger dudes, I guess.
For lack of a better term.
Give him bigger swords. I don't know what a quartermaster would actually do. Does he just yell at them to make them stronger? I don't even know. But I would say that the Paladin can make their smaller cards go a lot farther.
Yeah, absolutely. With things like equality, Yeah. Goes without saying. So, I love the Knife Juggler muster for battle. I'm probably keeping that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he draws into equality. I don't know how good it is in the opening hand, because a lot of times you won't really need it that much. The one thing, if your opponent gets like a really crazy start with like Innervate Shade,
Yeah.
Speak of the Devil,
Speak of the devil.
into like another Shade.
Or do you go full YOLO like I was talking about earlier?
Yeah. Full
Full YOLO,
he could
double
have done it next
Innervate
turn.
Thorson, yeah.
Yeah. Innervate Thorson is a real possibility in
On
this
turn
game.
4, absolutely.
Yeah, so
Because presumably, depending on what he picks up, he'll probably be hero powering for a couple turns anyway. So Thorsan will have a couple cards at least if you were to play it on turn 4.
and he can just clear out the guys here and pave the way for a Thorsan to go on an empty board. And we talked about earlier, Paladins just don't have a way to deal with it. They can't Aldor it.
Right.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You're still getting the unique effect. So, and also, this is good because he's got a curve now. He wants to pick up a turn 3 play, so he doesn't have to hero power twice in a row. But if he does, then he can just innervate out Emperor and then play the Sludge Belcher the following turn, which is you want a good curve out if you're innervating big threats early on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think probably just mini-bot here.
He unleashed the Shade that early.
Yeah.
That is bold call, but the right call, because Paladin on turn 3 isn't
Going to be able to get that true silver out. Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
He wants to be able to cash in on it while he can. Knife Juggler as well. Just going to trade into a Knife Juggler.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy indeed. That's not a turn 3 play.
No, it certainly isn't.
But I like this a lot better because this fits his curve more. Because Emperor Thorsan, we had a conversation earlier about like how do you pronounce it?
Thorisian.
Thorisian, Thorzane.
Thorzane. StarCraft fans out there.
Yeah. I don't even know. Tharsan. Yeah, Thorzane. What they call him? Off topic. Different
Yes.
game.
Back to the matter at hand. That's a pretty scary board to already be staring down.
Yep, the spoon turn. Okay, back to Hearthstone.
You do have the Peacekeeper to slow down the Shade, but then it just gets eaten up by the Belcher.
Yeah. I would have.
He uses it on the Belcher. That's definitely better.
Yeah. He put a lot of value on that Knife Juggler early in the game by not coining it out to stand up to that Shade because he wanted to get juggles out of it instead of just using it as like a 2-drop to eat damage. He didn't want it to get wrathed and then lose a lot of momentum.
Right.
But by doing that, he lost himself even more momentum. So it was a sort of a greedy play that didn't really pay off.
Man. Well, he finds himself in a particular sort of nasty situation right here, but he does have sort of the comeback mechanic in hand of equality, but he's lacking anything to really pair it with that effectively, especially with the Knife Juggler already gone. A lot of times an equality Knife Juggler muster for battle play can create some huge tempo swings in your favor.
Yeah.
But that's already out of the picture, so he's just going to put the Belcher down and try to slow this down a bit.
Yeah. It's a smart play because he knows that with what's on the board, he'd have to trade the Shade into the Sludge Belcher to be able to clear it off. Depends how Kolento's going to want to deal with this, because if he wants to preserve his Shade, he can Wrath, but then he's not doing anything for the rest of the turn.
Right.
If he Wraths and Hero Powers, he clears the board and throws the Shade in the face. So I like that, but it's a little bit vulnerable to... Well, I mean, not really. I was going to say it's a little bit vulnerable to like an Equality Consecrate. Because he's going like all in on that Shade.
Oh, anything's vulnerable to Equality Consecrate, really.
Yeah, that's why I was sort of second guessing myself, saying, well, that 6 damage to the face is actually really important.
That's a dead card right there. That's no help.
I don't even know if he can come back from this, because even if he manages to clear this board off, he's already taken so much damage.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the Druid to just draw into combo later in the game. The Paladin just won't have time to catch up.
Well, the Druid's already showing 11 damage on the board, if you include his hero power.
That's true. And he's got
And
big
you're only
threats
at
in his
14,
hand.
yeah.
It's not, he doesn't have dead cards. Sometimes Druids will get into a position where they push super hard, but then they have like a Wild Growth in their hand or something ridiculous, which is not, it's pretty useless on turn 7, 8, 9, or whatever. Puts him at 5.
Yeah.
5 health.
And respecting the potential Quartermaster play as well, you know, just sort of slowly putting the seal on this one instead of getting super crazy and just going all face all the time there.
Yeah. And
well, so what he can do here, but it still doesn't save him, he would have to
Equality,
and then he can kill the Shade. probably use his weapon to get through the mini sludge. But the True Silver has to be a part of it too, because he needs some health back.
Yeah. So he's got to do exactly that, but with the True Silver instead.
Yeah.
Hope that
the Shredder doesn't pop anything too valuable. Yeah.
I guess he'd still be alive even if there was like a mill house.
Well,
actually, no, he wouldn't
be completely dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, can he find 1 damage? Yes, he can. No problem.
A quick match.
Yeah, very quick. Already, Kolento going up 2-0. Playing with a certain anger and ferocity, it would seem. He is not happy, I don't think. Look at his face even.
Yeah.
He was not pleased about going down 3-0 versus his opponent earlier, and now he's coming back pretty strong.
He was just warming up earlier.
Just warming up. I love it.
Giving all the other players a false sense of security here.
Yeah.
Oh, Kolento's off his game. We got this.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Cold-blooded killer. Cold-blooded card slinger.
Cold-blooded card slinger. I love it. Now he's got 3 games to just pick up 1 win with the Warrior.
With the Warrior.
That feels pretty good.
Against either Paladin, Warlock, or Priest. Now, none of those are particularly fantastic matchups for Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Warlock we saw earlier. If it's traditional handlock or even just any type of handlock, at least has an even matchup. Priest, those longer games, it all depends on like who's the slower player. Like who has the slower cards is going to come out on top.
Mm-hmm.
And Paladin, that's mostly favored to Paladin because they can put on mid-game pressure and force the Warrior into defensive position that sometimes they can't get out of.
Right.
So,
and there you go. He sticks with the Paladin.
Yeah. There is a possibility that Luffy could come back because his matchups aren't terrible against Warrior.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, in this matchup, what is it that the Paladin has to try to do against the Warrior in order to take the win?
Just be annoying.
Just constant annoyance?
Just constant annoyance. Mm-hmm. Play around the removal, keep all your creatures at 2 health, and just push for damage.
Yeah.
You have to get greedy sometimes because you have to put pressure on.
Sure.
You can't let them get into that Control Warrior groove where they're just like, weapon, remove, creature, weapon, remove, creature, and get to that point where they can just Alexstrasza, Grom, finish the game.
Yeah.
Keep on that pressure on. Set up some creative plays to maybe get a Quartermaster in the mid-game.
Mm-hmm.
Paladin Shredders are fantastic because they're just so hard for Warriors to remove. They usually have to use 2 weapon charges or removal plus weapon charge. Make them be inefficient with their cards, and usually they'll come out on top.
And the shielded mini-bot in this matchup versus Warrior always feels so awesome. It's like, what's the scariest thing the Warrior has in the earlier game? The Fiery War Axe.
Yeah.
Oh, shielded mini-bot? No problem. Fiery War Axe.
Plus does at least 6 damage across the 2 turns. The one thing you have to worry about, though, I mean, as a Control Warrior player, a lot of times I'll just like Cruel Taskmaster and Fiery War Axe, or see them play a shielded mini-bot, just throw that Acolyte of Pain.
Mm-hmm.
Automatically get 2 draws from it. So
there you go.
They do have answers, but there's just so many things in the mid-game that if a Paladin has an uncontested board, it's so hard to come back. You have to have a timely brawl. And he actually holds on to the Harrison as well. So this is actually a pretty good hand, though, for Kolento. He doesn't have early threats, but he does have that Acolyte of Pain.
Yeah.
He has a Harrison Jones of his own. And Shield Maiden can be a tough card for Paladin to deal with as well.
Yeah, we should make for some interesting Harrison Jones plays back and forth in this one between the True Silver champion, Death's Bite.
Call it the museums.
Yep.
Ooh.
All right. I think I like this play a little better. I definitely, because the other option was probably to
Wild Pyro
or Coin Muster.
Yeah.
You know, Coin Muster, as we can see, probably would have been a pretty scary play, but I don't think he knows if there's Whirlwind or not in this Warrior deck.
Yeah. I don't think he really knows much about it. He hasn't seen it yet. So, this is sort of was like a Fire War Axe test.
Right.
Was saying if you have Fire War Axe, you're going to use it here. But the only play that punishes that is the Acolyte of Pain.
Yeah.
So that's a good read there. Now, he does have Coin Quartermaster as sort of a threat for the next turn.
Yeah.
And so this is going to force the Warrior player to be really defensive. So we might even see Fire War Axe plus a Taskmaster.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about. Force the Warrior to be inefficient with his cards.
Yep.
But this hand is really good from
it absolutely is. Oh, and he's going double Taskmaster instead.
Yeah. This is playing right into Consecrate, though, so I'm not sure how much I like this play.
Yeah, it really is. But then again, given his current hand, I mean, he's going to Harrison Jones and pick up 3 cards probably next turn.
Yeah.
Just for the card draw? Or do you save Harrison for the Death Spite?
Usually
you
just use Harrison when you can.
Yeah, just as soon as you can. That's how I feel too.
Red on curve usually is the best time to use it.
Yeah.
2 cards is probably about the most you're going to get for it, unless you can get the right on the Lights Justice. There's a chance that he might want to save it for Tyrion later. But right on curve, no other great plays.
Yeah.
2 cards, beautiful.
Feels good.
Oh, look at that curve. Shield Maiden, Dr. Boom.
Unreal.
Woo. He's got Death Bite to deal with the second muster for battle.
Well, presuming it doesn't get Harrison down immediately.
Yeah, that's true.
Although he's, again, it's that caster confirmation bias. He's got to be feeling really good about it.
Yeah. This is a little bit of a slower Paladin. He runs both equalities. He runs 2 equalities, plus the Wild Pyromancer.
Yeah.
Those are like the only cards that indicate it's a control Paladin.
Sure.
It's weird. People say, oh, it's a control Paladin. Well, he literally only has 1 extra equality and a Wild Pyromancer. Those are the only 2 differences.
Well, a lot of people are teching into a Stampeding Kodo.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's really nice comboed off of an Aldor or something like that.
Yep. Double Stampeding Kodo used to be the staple in Control Paladin back in the day, back when nobody played it. The class didn't exist. If you were a Golden Paladin, I would take a screenshot. Whoa! Tell all my friends, it was a Golden Paladin!
Unicorns do exist.
Yeah. This guy has no life.
Maybe that's more true than the unicorn.
He spent 2,000 hours playing Paladin just to get a golden portrait.
All right, a pretty average drop out of the piloted Shredder. And is this a Tyrion play? Is this the time?
Pardon my French, but this sucks.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a way to deal with Dr. Boom on turn 7.
Yeah.
That's a huge swing. Tyrion is okay, but I mean, all he has to have is an execute here, and Tyrion's done for.
Which he does.
Yep. And then that's something you just don't have to worry about later on in the game if you're the warrior player.
But you can't count out Ashbringer.
You can't, but 15 damage over 3 turns. As a warrior, you're not going to win by just having like a really great board. And 15 damage is when you're at a pretty decent amount of health in this matchup with a lot of health gain in your hand. It's not that bad.
Yeah, sure.
So he could try and Sylvanas here because he's seen the owl. He could try and Sylvanas, clear the board, and make it so that he gets an almost guaranteed steal on the Tyrion.
Well, he's going to armor up quite a bit here.
Oh, yeah.
At least 4.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
It can even just fireworks, this thing.
I was going to say, you can save your execute now.
Yeah. Yeah, Deathbite probably the better play, so you can get good value out of those armor smiths the following turn.
Yeah.
Instead of the fireworks. But that's a really clean way to deal with Dr. Boom, because he in the end he's going to gain about just as much health as he used to attack it down in the first place. And if he clears the Archer Protector here, that's
narrow miss.
That's actually a big deal, because now he has enough damage to clear the Dr. Boom without BGH.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aldar Peacekeeper too makes
Although
it easier.
you wind up taking 7 to your face if you do that, which puts you down at 26 or 16. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
16 health, and warriors can threaten a lot of burst with Grom and that Death Spite having it down to just 1 charge.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd feel comfortable enough doing that, but he does have the heal bot in hand.
And lay on hands.
Yeah.
He's still in an okay position. Like this turn.
So maybe you Peacekeeper and then kill Dr. Boom. You only take 1 to the face.
I think if you're
then heal bot.
I think if you're going to Peacekeeper, you want to take out one of the armor smiths. Because essentially it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The only thing is that the Dr. Boom may be out of your reach for a while. But I don't think you're really worried about that. You just don't want to gain so much armor from that second armor smith next turn. So Yeah, I like taking out one of the armor smiths better. But yeah, Outdoor Peacekeeper. And TKO bot, I think, might want to be saved until the post-Alex Shiraza. Harrison. Oh!
Wow. Nice pickup.
Right at the end of the rope,
Right
too.
on time. Amazing.
Well.
Gets the animation in. Where's the well met
Yeah.
emote with that one?
Yeah. That's a strong turn. Strong turn. But Warrior, Kolento, still in a fantastic position.
Yeah.
He's got a healthy amount of cards, life gain in his hand. He's got removal.
Yeah. He can be a little liberal with his execute too now, seeing the second one. He's still got that as an option. Hasn't seen any shield slams yet, and he's got the shield block for that potential removal combo.
And the shield maiden as well.
And the shield maiden.
He can remove anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Huh.
All right, well, what looked like a really amazing turn for the Paladin wound up turning into another really good turn for the Warrior.
Interesting by Kolento that he chose to attack after he armored up.
Yeah. Usually you do it the other way around.
I'm trying to think why he would do that, but I don't see any reason. I mean, it's just a nitpicky thing because whether or not you have 8 armor or 12 armor isn't too much at this stage. Like whether or not you have 8 armor and less health or 12 armor and less health, I don't know. Just weird.
Well, there must be a method to his madness. So at this point, the Paladin doesn't really have much in his hand. I think he's just got to lay on hands here and sort of see what he winds up picking up. Oh.
He's going to snipe it.
He's going to hope for the snipe. Wow. Only one.
Uh-oh. He's got 2 chances for a snipe. Oh, he got it on the first try.
Only one Silverhand recruit getting quartermaster treatment there.
It's still a decent value because you're basically putting.
I mean, you get 5/8 for 5 mana.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's 7 though.
Yeah.
Because you have to summon him in the first place.
Yeah, it's like a 4/7 worth of stats for like 6 mana essentially, which is okay. It's like a little bit worse of a Druid of the Claw without taunt.
Well, the equality is a nice pickup. That will deal with Ysera quite effectively.
I would say so.
And then I think he just needs delay on hands, because his hand right now just doesn't have any real way to take initiative back.
Yeah.
He can Peacekeeper a big scary target. He can heal bot in order to hang on for another turn or something. And he can Pyromancer equality to clear something really nasty. But yeah, I think this is probably the way to go.
Yeah, with both equalities, he can just throw those out there all willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And he got the Laughing Sister. Of course.
That Laughing Sister.
It's so hard to deal with, though.
It is.
Especially against a Paladin. How's the Paladin going to deal with it?
Well, if he saves that weapon charge.
Yeah. That'll deal with it. But like a true Silver Champion, in a normal situation, it's
just
like got
out
true
of
Silver
reach
Champion
of that.
and has to throw in a dude. Just really awkward.
Tell us how you really feel, TJ.
Oh, God, Laughing Sisters. I grew up with Laughing Sisters.
Oh, nice. Well played, sir. And there she goes, the Laughing Sister.
She's just going to get wrecked, though. Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a guaranteed way to make sure Sylvanas doesn't get any sort of a steal. Not that a 3/1 is the best steal in the world either.
Yeah. This is a pretty clean way to deal with Sylvanas, though.
Yeah.
And he could even throw down a rag.
Yeah.
It's a lot of wasted damage into a 2-health Laughing Sister, though, if it happens to hit.
Yeah, but then again, it could also wind up hitting the guy in the face.
Yeah.
And then put on quite a bit of pressure, get rid of all the armor.
Yeah.
Because at this point, he's probably thinking there's got to be a shield slam in there somewhere.
Yeah. And he's actually going to go ahead and just throw out the anti-heal bot now.
Yeah.
Alex Straza. He's actually been through all his heals, so the Alex Straza combo would be pretty devastating. But Warrior's starting to run out of cards. Paladin's gotten to that point where the card advantage is moot right now. It's the card advantage. Neither player has a decent hold on the card advantage. And the Paladin can just start pressuring now because the Warrior's in that phase where They're just trying to draw into more threats.
Right.
Their cards in their hand are all pretty much all reactive. They just need threats.
All right. So what can he do here? Ragnaros hitting the Sludge Belcher just brings back a 1/2. Hitting a Sister, so much wasted damage. True Silver doesn't clean up that cleanly on the Belcher. Still have to use your mini bot.
Yeah. But I think this is the cleanest way to deal with it overall. Because everything else, all your other cards are situational. Muster for Battle would have been the only other option, but he would have left the Sludge Belcher up for an extra turn. So.
Right.
Reporting for duty.
He wants to throw down something.
Yeah, he hates leaving that 4 mana on the board.
He
like
hates
that.
Laughing Sisters just as much as I do,
There
apparently.
you go. That must be it.
You know, Laughing Sister, 1 attack for you. How about that? That's a good draw.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a pretty scary body at this point, too. I mean, the
Yeah.
equality is there, though.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, I don't think he can really afford to use the equality, but it could set up for a really good rag play because you can clear and then put a rag and then either face, which would get rid of the armor, or the Shield Maiden would be pretty good in that situation.
Sure.
Ooh, Lotheb. This heavy paladin actually is pretty good. Is even better against the warrior, I think, because they can put on that pressure in the mid game, force out reactive play from the warrior, plus follow it up in the late game with some bigger threats that the warrior might not be able to handle as well.
He's got to get rid of all that armor before he can safely put down Ragnaros, though. Because that thing, he's shield slams for days with that much armor.
Yeah. I think you still throw it down, though. I don't know. It's tough. Because if you load that, he can still shield slam the next turn.
Sure.
It would just be 6 mana shield slam instead of 1 mana shield slam.
Yeah.
It would be out of the way for Rag. But you're not really gaining much board position there, and you're sort of leaving it at the warrior to be the one who's trading off things and having initiative over the board. So I like Rag here better.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
What's he going to hit? This is always my favorite part of Ragnaros.
Yeah. He wants to hit face because he knows that he hasn't seen shield slams yet, and the likelihood that he has it is really high. Oh, he got it.
Good shot.
Yellow.
All right.
This is a bad hand for Kolento. He started with a fantastic hand, but somehow Luffy just outpaced him. It was because of the lay on hands. His hand would be empty right now if it wasn't for the lay on hands. And Kolento's just all reactive.
Yep.
Removal and a death bite.
Yeah. Brawl here even has a 25% chance to just leave Ragnaros on the board. I guess Death's Bite execute. Yeah.
Wow. 11 health he's at now.
Jeez.
I mean, he's going to be able to armor up at the end of the turn, but this is a lot of potential pressure that that Luffy can start putting on. And even though it looked grim for him at the beginning of this game, it looks like he's starting to turn it around just a bit.
Yep. Now, the thing, though, with the Death's Bite is that's going to block Muster for Battle. Lotheb is just going to get cleared by it right away, and then he's still going to have a 5/4 body on his side of the board.
Yep.
Shredder. Yeah, Shredder feels pretty good here.
Yeah. You have to play multiple threats to be able to.
Yeah, at this point, he's just trying to put the pressure on, put as much damage out there. He says use your weapon to kill something when you're at 10 health.
Yep. I like attacking into the Piloted Shredder more here first, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, it would make it so that your Shield Maiden would die, but it would also make it so that...
well, presumably she's probably going to die right here, too, because...
Yeah.
No, he could shield slam.
Yeah. He's not building up his board.
No.
I guess this is okay.
Yeah.
A 3-2 probably not what he wanted to see because he would want since he made that play, he would want his Shield Maiden to be a little bit healthier. But still decent. Muster for Battle.
Muster for Battle.
That's what he needed.
And with only 7 health left, too, those little 1/1s are scarier than they would be a long
Just
time
poking
ago.
you and prodding you with whatever. I guess a hammer?
Do you
A hammer that's made out of a rock, maybe?
Now, do you just put down the Black Knight here as a body for just more pressure?
Has he been through sludge belchers yet? Can't remember.
There was absolutely the one earlier. I'm trying to remember if there was a second one even before that.
I think you can afford to play the little bit of a longer game here.
Mm-hmm.
Because next year you can do 5 damage regardless. And there's a brawl would be a lot bigger of a deal in that situation.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Now this turns tough because he has to debate whether or not he wants to use Thorson and the Paladin Shredder, or try and fit in a way to armor up.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he doesn't armor up, only just a True Silver Champion kills him.
I was going to say, I think he has to try to fit in. Well, wow, Brawl.
To take out, basically traded a Brawl for half of a muster for battle.
Yeah.
Because he still has the Life's Justice to hold on to. But I guess that's what he felt he had to do. And a Quartermaster would have killed him.
Yep.
And
there's a lot of things that would have killed him.
Yeah,
at that
Quartermaster, True Silver Champion if he didn't do that. Now he has to deal with the Sylvanas.
Oh, goes from bad to worse. Looks like Luffy, 99 times out of 100 in this situation, is going to hang on to this series, going to matchup number 4
He needs
against Kolento.
Exactly Alex Raza.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, that wasn't it. For a second there, my heart skipped a beat. I was like, wait, did he just get lethal?
Whoa!
But then, oh, he's got no way to activate to enrage him.
It's just a little baby Gromish. Just a 4 damage. Nobody's made him mad yet.
Grom came out of the womb pretty mad, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Even baby Grom's still a little bit pissed.
Yeah, he had a rough shake of things, too.
Yeah, I think he's dead.
I think this is just a concede.
And he might even not want to use as...
Not show anything, definitely not sure Thorsan.
Yeah, not that that really gives away much, because how are you going to play around Thorsan?
Yeah, that's true.
But...
And you've seen a lot of his deck as it is now, too.
He can try and hope for, like, something here. Doomsayer wouldn't have even saved him.
No, wouldn't have done it.
But you can always check just to make sure that you've gone through every possible solution, and Kolento goes ahead and concedes.
All right, so Luffy hanging in there. Not going out that easy. We ain't going out like that, homie.
He's like, I'm just going to keep throwing the Paladin at you. Eventually, I'll pick up a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now, of the 2 remaining decks that he has, he's looking at either a Warlock or a Priest to go up against the Control Warrior.
Okay. Well, both of those can't have the potential to have decent matchups again against Warrior. We said it earlier. Luffy has a chance to come back in this one. But Kolento is sort of in the opposite position now. He's the one that's going to keep throwing the deck out there.
Yeah.
Trying to pick up a win. He doesn't really have a choice. Now, we didn't see Luffy's Priest.
No,
so
we haven't.
We saw Kolento's Priest because he took the victory over it, but we didn't see Luffy, so I'm not sure how slow it is.
Right.
Like what type of big threats it has, but usually who wins in this matchup, it's not about pressure because neither of these classes, the Warrior maybe a little bit more, but neither of these classes can pressure super hard in the mid game. It all comes down to who can hit harder in the late game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who can follow up their opponent's removal with another threat for longer.
Or shoot, sometimes it's even who can outlast the other in fatigue.
Yeah, exactly.
In Priest versus Warrior.
The Priest usually just like, okay, removal, heal up.
Yeah.
Removal, heal up. And the Warrior's just like, ha, Ysera, ha, Dr. Boom, ha.
Oh.
Thorson, ha, whatever. I don't even know. Trogzor.
But it's going to be the Warlock. Now, Luffy's Warlock was the one that we absolutely saw power overwhelmings in.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
That we can much more safely call a combo lock.
Yeah, we actually didn't see the actual charge piece. We don't know if it's Leroy or Arcane Golem. So we're not quite sure exactly what the final combo pick is.
Right.
But we know that it's with Faceless and Power Overwhelming. There's some combo piece in there.
Yeah, pretty safe to say that that's probably the play, his main win condition.
Yeah, and for a while, Warlocks were actually running those cards pretty standard. It was they would run Power Overwhelming, Faceless, Arcane Golem as sort of their win condition. It was sort of, they played very similar to Control Warrior in the fact that they would just use the early game and the mid game to, instead of using a removal as threats, they'd use or removal as their control, they'd use their threats as their way to control.
Right.
And then late game, they just burst you down with a combo, similar to what warriors do. But nowadays with Thorsan, or Thorsan, who knows? Maybe Ben Brode will tweet at us and let us know how to pronounce it. Maybe he doesn't even know.
Ben, if you're watching, we're gonna need confirmation on that.
Yeah. But with that, it makes it so even if you just have one of those pieces in your hand when you play Thorsan, it makes the combo so much easier to pull off because you make Faceless cost one less. You can Faceless, Leroy, and Power Overwhelming, which is 20 damage.
It's an insane amount of damage. All right, so I love seeing Armorsmith, obviously, early as the warrior.
In this matchup, maybe not as much.
That's true, actually, yeah, because what is the Warlock going to be playing until that Drake or that Mountain Giant?
Yeah, with the combination of the Cruel Taskmaster, I like it because you can turn it into a bigger body. You also gain armor from that interaction.
Sure.
So it can give you an earlier, more powerful shield slam.
That's also has always felt to me like an easy play to get punished for, though.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Reducing her health by 1 puts her right into the range of so many things in this game. Dark Bomb, especially in this matchup, would be one.
Yeah. Or even just like an Earthring Farseer.
Right,
Dark Bomb, I think with the combo, you probably have to cut Dark Bombs. Especially he has Blood Mage Thalnos. I don't even know.
Hey.
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah. I don't even know what he's cutting for these. Did we see Mountain Giants for Luffy's Warlock?
I don't remember. I don't think we did.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. I mean, once we get through this deck, we'll see what he's cutting exactly. But at least these first cards, are sort of reminiscent of the deck that it was this weird deck that Darquanix brought when he actually qualified for last season's Legendary Series. It was a spell power. He used a lot of control spells like Implosion and the spell power buff, and he just controlled the board earlier on, and then did the burst combo later in the game to sort of close it out. And this is similar to what it looked like. It didn't have Mountain Giants. It didn't even have Molten Giants. It was really weird. It was just like super control combo.
Yeah. All right, so big old shield slam going down, but he does have to use the Taskmaster as well to finish it out.
That hurts.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that great. But then again, getting rid of the Drake that quickly can be, sometimes just absolutely necessary.
This is so hard because this Sludge Belcher, he just doesn't have a way to deal with it. He's going to have to hit it with his face twice, and he's not even going to. He's just going to wait till next turn when he can play the Sylvanas.
Yeah. And now it's just a big wall of sludge.
Well, if he couldn't deal with the last one.
Yeah, what makes you think he can deal with 2?
Yeah. Now, a 5/5 is actually kind of annoying for 2 Sludge Belchers to deal with because you're forcing both bodies of the Sludge Belcher into the...
Yeah, theoretically.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the combo right there.
So it's an Arcane Golem.
It's an Arcane Golem.
So that's what kind of person he is. I was thinking, is he a Leroy kind of guy?
Yeah.
Is he an Arcane Golem kind of guy?
I guess it has to be Arcane Golem, though, really, if it's straight up combo, because Leroy at 5 mana.
He might not be running
You've got
Thorsan.
Yeah, you need Thorsan if you want Leroy to be your finisher.
Arcane Golem is more consistent, but Leroy has more flair.
More gusto.
Yeah, exactly.
More gravitas.
It's a sexier play. I wonder. But yeah, you can Arcane Golem double Power Overwhelming Faceless for 24 damage without Thorsan.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Just ignore the Sylvanas.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
I think he might be thinking about a Blood Mage Mortal Coil play to try and get him to steal either the Blood Mage or the Sludge here. This actually would be a pretty big deal because if he steals a Sludge Belcher, that's really bad.
Yeah, it could be. He does pick up the L.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Well, that went well.
And he preserves his Blood Mage, preserves his own card draw, his own spell power.
Yeah.
So best case scenario right there. That was a
absolutely
pretty good play.
Thorsan coming down for a turn 80 Sarah.
That's the silence effect.
the animation
I was gonna make a comment, but you know.
caught me off there for a second. I was like, "What are you talking
Yeah, the
about?"
animation. It's like the exact sound effect as the. Come on, I know I'm buying a lot of packs, so I want the money for my packs to go to new sound effect for Orsan.
Okay. Well, Blizzard, you've been put on notice officially by TJ.
They're gonna like tweet out actually how much money I've spent on packs.
Oh, is that going to be embarrassing if they do?
No. Only a couple thousand.
All right, so another Siphon Soul. And yeah, he's just sort of building up his hand here, setting up that combo.
Keeping the armor low.
Yep.
You're always afraid of that Ysera Awakens. Oh, looky that. It's a Ysera Awakens. Zombie Chow as well. Now, Zombie Chow was a card that was put in handlock a lot as sort of like the anti-early aggro.
Sure.
Because a lot of times, handlocks would get to that situation against aggro where they'd be like one turn away from stabilizing.
Mm-hmm.
And that Zombie Chow sort of buys in that one turn just early in the game.
Yeah.
So I liked it, but I don't know. I think the meta right now is sort of slowing down. People
Sure.
are trying out Thorson. I don't really like Zombie Chow as much right now.
Yeah, especially maybe in tournament play, right?
Yeah,
Because
for
like on the ladder, you're going to run into a ton of mech mages, a ton of hunters.
Angry little kids playing Revenge playing Face Hunter because they just lost to Face Hunter 5 times.
Yeah,
So they go back and they want to play it themselves.
Isn't that how all of us got started playing Face Hunter?
Yeah.
Was the revenge way?
Except for the first guy that played Face
Except
Hunter.
for the very first man. Yeah, Patient Zero.
Yeah. And he probably played Face Hunter because he's like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I want my games to be super fast, just whatever. Put in everything that goes face.
Exactly.
He's in hiding right now. Witness protection.
Wasn't it Forsen?
I don't think so.
Or was he just the one who kind of brought it to the
He
the
probably
light?
was one of the ones who brought it to the light.
Yeah.
Chalky was one of the first. Also Backspace and
Well, a big brawl going down here, by the way, and
I
it
don't remember.
winds up being a pretty effective one too, I'd say, getting rid of some scary stuff there. Especially that ginormous, which is what it was, Twilight Drake.
Yep. Again, Warriors in this position though, running out of cards. No real victory push in sight.
Yeah. Although the lock is down to 17 health. And he's got a Death's Bite in hand, so he might be thinking that all I really want here is Grom.
Yeah.
And I can set up a huge turn for the kill.
Yeah. So Black Knight's a play here, but he's thinking, can I tap? Because he'll be at 15 health. There'll be 1 damage on the board. He's just making sure that that's a possibility, and he can. He's safe to tap. There's no way that his opponent can kill him next turn. But he's got to be careful with that from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, the threat of Grom is always real anytime you're playing against a warrior.
It's looming.
Yep.
It's a good draw.
Yeah.
It's going to allow him to at least refill his hand a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got the Death Bite for next turn.
Yeah, he's just going to buy some time, stay at a nice, healthy hit point total here, keep his armor going until he can draw into that big combo with the Death Bite and Grom.
There's a lot of damage in hand right now, though.
Yeah, there is. So let's see. So he's got most of the combo here. He's got the Golem.
Second power.
So that's 8, 16. Yeah, but the Warrior's still got so much health. You don't want to play that yet.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay. So if he Emperor Thor sounds this turn, he can Arcane Golem, Faceless, Power Overwhelming, and Hellfire in the same turn.
Yeah. Yes, he can.
Which is 19 damage.
Which is pretty unreal.
But that would have to be the killing blow because you'd kill your own Arcane Golems. But his Thor Sound would just die to Death Bite.
Yeah, I feel like he probably winds up throwing it down anyway here. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The threat of Grom.
Yeah.
He needs to. I mean, this only puts him 2 damage out of lethal, even with Grom. So.
By weaving that tap in there, it forces him to play, absolutely, the heal bot. And he wanted to tap probably to get closer to that big giant combo.
Yeah. Wow. So this is actually a pretty good spot because he's got 2 card draws here.
Mm-hmm.
If the Warlock only played Anti-Healbot there, he knows that all of his cards are either reactive or pieces.
Right.
And so he can play pretty confidently here. Let's see what he gets.
So having not seen any giants yet, by the way, do you think Kolento's savvy to this being a combo lock as opposed to a hand lock?
It's hard to say until you know for sure.
Yeah. Because there are games where they just don't have them.
You can never make that call.
Yeah.
Because then you're like playing around combo the whole time, and then all of a sudden, Molten Giant, Molten Giant.
Yeah.
Like Molten Giant, Mountain Giant, Twilight Drake come down on the same turn. And you used your brawl earlier because you were afraid of combo.
Right.
So you were trying to keep your health total as high as possible, and then you lose. So.
Yeah, this is I've never really played this combo lock, so it's a little bit difficult for me to say kind of exactly what he's aiming to do every single turn. It does seem to me though, like with the Faceless Manipulator in hand and all those cards you've got, that Emperor Thorsan seems like the way to go to me.
Yeah.
You might Hellfire Mortal Coil instead though, and then follow that up with your Earthen Ring, which it looks like is what he's going to go for.
Yeah, I like that play a little bit better. Thorsan, you want to try your best to protect it. And also, if you just Thorsan that turn, there was a possibility that he could have died.
Sure.
With this play, there is no possibility that he'll die.
Well, there's also no possibility he'll get played this turn, so we'll have to see.
Yeah. If he hadn't Hellfired.
Right.
Yeah.
Does he get greedy and weave another tap in?
Yeah. There's no reason not to at that point because you're looking for... His hand is bad if he's not killing his opponent the next turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very reactive. Lotheb's a fantastic draw because that's something that he can just play as a body next turn. Something that you can throw out and like leave alone, not worry about. So, Dr. Boom though.
Yep, Dr. Boom. Right on time, always, every time. Always, just immediately.
No matter when it comes, it's on time.
It's on time. He's just like a wizard. He never arrives early or late. He arrives precisely when he meant to.
Yep.
I think I like Kolento's position in this matchup a little bit better.
Wow, there's the implosion. So this is the old school combo lock. It doesn't, if this is, it's very similar to what Darquanix ran in the Legendary Series last season on his run to qualify for the LAN Finals. He just owned that week.
Yeah.
It was nobody knew how to play against the deck because they'd see it and they'd be like, what is he doing? He's just implosion and handlock? What is...
Right.
And then all of a sudden he kills you.
Yeah.
From like 24 health.
Now the question is, does Kolento have another way to automatically enrage Grom? Because he used both Taskmasters early in this game.
Did he?
Or was that last game?
That was last game, I think. He used it against the Paladin. They got consecrated.
That's what it was.
He just won this game, I think. So, he still has one, I believe.
So many possible.
Might even implosion a Boombot.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see he is going to wind up implosioning the Boombot.
Yeah.
And he clearly respects the Grom. Wow.
Oh!
And he survives.
Yeah, now.
Impressive.
Okay. Kolento's in trouble. He's dead next
Yeah. That was a huge swing. I was just talking a second ago about how I like Kolento's position, but now he's in a world of hurt.
Yeah, that implosion's really tough to deal with because you never expect it against handlock. So you're using your Death Bite, and then all of a sudden implosion comes out. You're like, what do I do?
Right.
Especially rolls 4. Unless he has Brawl, this board is just sticking there.
Yeah, so what can he even hope for here? I guess...
He could trade the Boombot into the Big Game Hunter. Hopefully it gets something bigger.
Hopefully it gets the 3/3 Farseer.
Yeah, if that's what he's going to do, he's going to want to execute the other Farseer
exactly.
as well, I think.
That way he can execute.
And then Fire Warax,
and then
another
Warax.
one. But then all he needs, he'd still have 4 damage on the board in an ideal scenario. He'd be at 32 health if he armors up. That's a scary position to be in.
Yeah. This is going to be quite a bit of damage most likely coming out. See what he hits. Doesn't matter really.
Yeah. Oh, you hit it for 4. Rolled high on the imp.
Yeah, and then you got to throw down the BGH here just to have something else on the board.
It's also a good read, though, throwing down the BGH, because now he knows what kind of deck it is.
Right.
And I would think that this would be a pretty easy anti-Heal bot Loatheb turn, but he's going to go over the options. Emperor Thorstein is an option as well.
Yeah.
But 5 drops are great because you can play 2 of them on a single turn.
Yeah,
On turn 10.
absolutely. Oh, wow. Yeah, Kolento's definitely in a big world of hurt here. Does he even have any outs at this point?
Alexstrasza, perhaps. Alexstrasza into... He needs Alexstrasza, then Cruel Taskmaster as his next 2 cards. And he needs to hold on to that Fireworks charge.
Yeah.
And Luffy needs to not draw into the second piece of his combo, not draw into any more damage, and not draw into any more points of heal.
Right. Oof. All right, so then Luffy probably already looking ahead
Yeah. So
to his priest.
he's got 6 damage on board, plus the 24 damage from the combo. He's 2 damage off lethal right now, I think.
Oh, yeah, so, okay, so Arcane Golem becomes 12 and 12.
Yep, so 24.
24 plus 6, 30, so...
All right, well, this will make it lethal next turn no matter what because he could play everything plus Hellfire.
Yeah. Yep, easy peasy.
So that's 27 damage that he can do next turn.
All right. We'll see. Maybe Deathwing now.
Wow, and he'll even have 1 mana left over
Yep.
after just emptying his hand. He could play that Owl.
All right. So looks like we're definitely going to be moving on here then.
Oh,
Wait a
nope.
second. Of course. How could we?
Nope. He's 1 damage off again, and he's out of cards. Oh, no.
Oh, but the Dark Bomb. So how much mana
No,
does
he
this
doesn't have
cost?
enough.
That's 6. Those are both 0, so he's only at 6.
Oh, no, he's at 26 health. He didn't
Yeah.
armor up. So we're good.
Yeah.
Whew,
You
he's
got
dead.
this.
He scared me for a second. the Arcane Golem, Faceless,
Yep.
and then he pick your poison.
And yeah, either one will do the trick. All right,
Wow.
going to game 5. Wow, Kolento letting Luffy sneak back into this one.
Now, see, but now that this is one of the great things about Conquest 2 because a deck beats you, you didn't know about the deck, you didn't know exactly what was in it, and once it beats you, you're not going to play.
Yeah.
You don't play against it again.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you don't have a chance to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knows what's in there, but it doesn't matter now.
Right.
Because now all Luffy needs is a win with Priest, and Warrior against Priest is sort of it's a little bit of a toss-up.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you said, definitely probably going to be a slow game. Who can just hit real hard at the end of the game
Yeah.
is probably going to be the winner of this one.
Gonna go
Now-
cook some popcorn real quick. Jeez.
Now, I do always feel a little bit better, though, as the Warrior in this matchup when I'm playing in it.
Yeah. Warrior, you dictate the pace of the game more.
Right.
You feel like you're more in control of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Priest, you're so reactive that you're waiting for the Warrior to do something that you want them to do.
Right.
Like you're like, okay, please play this, please play this, please play this.
Yeah.
A lot of times it works out because most of the time you have answers for whatever the Warrior can throw out. But
Right.
As the Warrior player, sometimes you get in that position where you can just push for damage. If you have early Alexstrasza, early combo.
Yep.
So.
And the other thing is I feel like as the Warrior, I've got so many huge targets that any one of them that he Shadow Word deaths, I'm just like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was there for in this matchup, right?
Yeah.
You know, like Shadow Word death after you silence my Sylvanas. Oh, no worries. Because Alexstrasza and Grom are what I'm really counting on here anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so I always feel a little bit better as the Warrior in this matchup.
And Kolento has Ysera.
Yeah. Which
Mind
is a
control-
nightmare for Priest.
Mind control is the only way to deal with Ysera as a Priest.
Well, now there's also, though, since GVG, there is the potential of Shrinkmeister Cabal.
The small potential. Yeah, we haven't seen Luffy's Priest yet, so we don't know if he's running the Shrinkmeister. But Kolento ran it earlier, so it seems like it's coming back at least a little bit.
Yeah. I think most priests are running Shrinkmeister.
Really?
Yeah, I'm running it in mine. I see it a lot of times.
Okay.
You know, and I'll put down a lot of times I'll feel really safe putting down a piloted Shredder or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Or choosing to charge with my Druid of the Claw. And then he's like, oh, word, no problem.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I absolutely think the Shrinkmeister should have a place.
Yeah. I like Shrinkmeister when it works. but I hate having Shrinkmeister in my hand when it doesn't work. Because you don't want to play it as just a vanilla 3-2 a lot of the time. Because this is not how Priest plays.
Right.
That 3-2 just gets gobbled up by just about everything. But when some combos that you can pull off are just nasty.
Yeah, absolutely. Between Shadow Madness, Shadow Word Pain, and Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that the Shrinkmeister can absolutely do.
Yeah, now Recombobulate, on the other hand, that's one of my favorite cards. And has an even more limited use than Shrinkmeister.
Yeah. I remember when the Combobulator, when I was first taking a look at it, I thought for sure that it was just going to be an auto include in every single hand lock. Didn't really wind up being so much. I just thought because, wow, it can automatically heal any giant.
Yeah.
Just to full.
Whoa, sweet.
So the mulligans for this matchup, probably keeping the Blade Master on top for Luffy, yeah, and then no surprise there, keeping the Acolyte and ditching the other two.
Double Shadow Word Death here for Luffy, so that's going to help him quite a bit. Double Shadow Word Death is actually pretty standard.
Yeah.
But some priests cut it. If it's a faster meta, some priests will cut it. So it's a good read by him, bringing both. He reads that it's going to be a little bit of a slower tournament play. Death Lord.
The Death Lord
is the most annoying card game Priest versus Warrior. I would not be surprised if he just saves that Death Lord until it goes to that inevitable fatigue stage.
Yeah, well, it takes so much reach as the Warrior to try to bring him down. Think about all of the removal you've got. You don't really want to use an Execute on him.
Yeah, and
you don't really want to use a Shield Slam on him. Usually you save those for way scarier stuff.
And I've lost to Priests because of Death Lord as a Control Warrior player probably 50 times.
Yeah.
Because what they do is they wait till you're out of removal, wait till you're in that fatigue stage where they know you have Grom and Cruel Taskmaster, and you're just waiting for them to get low enough in fatigue to use it. They throw it in the Death Lord, you have no way to deal with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way.
And he's just sitting there, boop, smacking your armor away every turn.
Exactly. And then you just lose because you just don't have a way to deal with it.
Yeah.
And there's no downside to it when you play it that late in the game. There's actually a pretty big downside if you play it earlier on against Warrior, because if they just execute it and then out pops a Ysera on turn 4 or 5, well, what are you going to do?
Right. So I think I'd probably would like to see the Blade Master Power Word Shield here.
Yeah. It's vulnerable to execute, but at some point you're going to have to put something on the board.
Right.
There's a potential he might just wait till next turn to play Lotheb, which will pretty much guarantee that he'll be able to pick off these guys without the Lotheb being removed. Because it'd be too early to play a Lotheb execute or Shield Slam.
Right.
But you got to get, at some point in the game, you got to start building a board. So
yeah.
I would not be upset with the injured Blade Master Powered Shield. I don't really have any right to be upset at anything. But, you know, sometimes when you're casting,
I mean,
just things make you mad.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
Or happy.
Oh, but he goes with the Death Lord instead. So I suppose he just has made up his mind. I don't mind giving an extra draw to that Acolyte so much.
There's the execute.
And there's the execute, yeah.
And he gives a draw to the Acolyte.
How about that?
I don't know about this. Ysera seems likely at this point.
Hashtag dicey.
Oh, gosh.
What's it going to be?
I'm afraid. Okay.
Hey, all right.
Sludge Belcher is above average, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing about this board is Light Bomb does nothing.
Yeah. It all lives except for your one Acolyte down there.
And it's basically just you drew a card.
Yeah.
Like, he's basically saying, okay, deal 3 damage to your board, give you 3 armor, 2 cards, and use up 6 mana. Like, that sounds terrible.
And, all right, what do we see here then in response? I guess versus this matchup, this is one of those times where you just put down Harrison on turn 5.
Cruel Taskmaster, BGH.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, because what else does a Priest play that a BGH is going to kill?
Rag or Dr. Boom. But at this point, you have such a big board, might as well just start piling on the pressure.
Yeah.
Because you get to that point as a warrior, you have to make the decision. Am I going to play this one slow, or am I going to try and play this one fast?
Sure.
His board's on the table. Like, he's already pretty much all in on this one because he uses removal on the Death Lord. His hand is pretty small at this point. So he's pretty confident that he can just start start piling on the pressure.
Yeah.
Force the priest into a very, very reactive playstyle.
All right, so he's going with the Blade Master. Now, what's the thought process here? Do I power word shield first in order to see what else? I mean, but then what do you... Or do I just use my hero power?
He can hope for Circle of Healing for his Light Warden, but I think Power Word Shield... yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to do Light of the Naru now. Don't you? Maybe even on your own face looking at that board.
I don't know, because it's just going to get gobbled up, and it's going to give him extra armor and extra draws, because you can't heal to activate it, sort of.
Right,
Quote-unquote activate it.
Yeah.
So it's only going to have one attack. Quickly. So, I mean, he might even just play Zombie Chow, because it effectively, you're putting 3 extra health on the board, but you're also putting against 2 extra attack. It's really tough. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would play Zombie Chow.
Yeah, I guess you're right, too, especially considering that his opponent is still at 100% health right now. You're not suffering any of the drawback that the Zombie Chow has. Oh, man.
At this point, I would just try and cash in on as much armor, because you're coming up on turn 6.
Mm-hmm.
Cash in on all your armor smiths and acolytes here. Just throw them away.
Sure.
Because you don't want to give him any value out of those cards. So I would just throw the acolytes and armor smith and the cruel taskmaster all into the injured blade master here.
All right, looks like what he's going to do.
Maybe not.
Oh.
I mean...
Gosh, he's got so much threat on the board already.
I guess if he spends a whole turn using Cabal, he's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he can't deal with it. So I sort of underestimated how much damage he actually has on the board. But,
So now... Yeah, this is probably... So Shadow Word Death, and then what do you do with your 3 other mana? Thought Steal? Got to kind of feel like you have to self-heal Light of the Naru, maybe? Or Light of the Naru first, then heal yourself? Or do you
might
Light
Light
Bomb?
Bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you Light Bomb, which kills...
He would
you use the Zombie Chow to finish off the Sludge Belcher.
I think he would throw in the injured blade master to Sledge Belcher.
Okay.
Because it's going to die to the light bomb anyway.
Yeah, at that point, right, and then you use the Zombie Chow to kill the Baby Belcher.
You'd still leave the Armor Smith and the Accolade of Pain, but at this point you're desperate. He's just trying to hold on as much as he can.
Gosh, so much armor.
Ah! Epilepsy!
Wow.
It sounds like lasers.
I've never actually seen it interact that way, where it continues to do that animation over and over again.
I just hear, like, just the one, there's a, like, just one light bomb.
Right.
I feel like I was playing, I was in like a Star Wars movie or something right there.
Yeah, and I like this play too. Just continue. I'd swing at his face, just go ham.
Yeah,
I mean, this one's all but locked up. I mean, Shadow or Death, double Light of the Naru. At this point, though, he's kind of playing not to lose as quickly as opposed to being able to play to win.
all spells.
Yep.
He can Thought Steal, but then he won't. I mean, Thought Steal.
Best case Thought Steal would be what, though? Because then you're only down to 4 mana.
He has to heal himself, actually. So he has to Light of the Naru and heal himself, I think. He doesn't have enough mana.
You double Light of the Naru and heal yourself.
Yeah.
You wind up getting a 5-2 and a 3-2 on the board.
Yeah. If he's feeling really bold, he could have Circle of Healing there to heal up his opponent's creatures. And
had gigantic
had a
Light
9-2 and a
Wardens.
7-2 on the board. Shield block into shield block. I mean, even if Luffy does manage to stabilize here, there's just going to be the armor count for Kolento is going to be way too high.
Yeah. How are you going to ever chew through that as a priest?
No, it's just going to be really hard. And, I mean, he's got ways to deal with whatever he's going to throw out. This is going to get Shadow Word Death, then Shield Man is going to come down next turn. Shadow Word Death Sludge Belcher feels pretty good.
It does.
But
and then in a matchup too versus a control heavy deck that plays a lot of giant minions, there's just always the potential for that card right there to have an enormous impact.
oh,
I mean, look at that right there. He's got to buy himself 5 more health.
Yeah,
Effectively 10 more health in hand with the Sledge Belcher.
that draw is pretty good.
Yeah.
Because he gets a Shield Maiden from the Thought Steal, which is another 5 health gain.
But then still, that doesn't answer
Okay, yeah.
it doesn't present a solution for getting through 54 health.
Yeah.
It sounds ridiculous when you
Whoa!
say it out loud, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Velen's Chosen. Yeah, this is the Velen's Chosen Deathlord deck. I see this deck all the time on ladder, but I haven't seen it in competitive play much yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's super annoying because I talked to you earlier about the Deathlord plus into Velen's Chosen falling turn. Like coin Deathlord into Velen's Chosen.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with the 412 on turn 3?
Absolutely. I mean, I guess Warrior is one class that absolutely is uniquely equipped, though, with Execute.
But like, say you're like an oil rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can sap it, but
Yeah.
if you don't have sap, the game's over.
Yeah.
Because you're having to put 12 damage into that.
Right.
I mean, it's a risky play, but even if it doesn't pay off, usually the downside isn't too bad.
Sure. All right, well, it looks like Kolento's going to start setting up his Death March here, pouring all the pressure to the face, Death Spite, and setting up that big Grom turn next turn.
Yeah.
Now, so let's see, does the Belcher should buy him some time, though, because then he has to use the weapon, then the 5/5 to kill the baby Belcher, then he's only got 10 to the face.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's just armoring up.
Yep.
And Luffy's just trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
And he's going to Velen's Chosen. I mean, it's the only way he can stay alive. 5/9 is hard to get through, but I mean, he's got Execute. He's got...
Yeah. He's got plenty of ways to do that. And Ysera comes down.
Yeah, that's... He might even just throw these guys in there.
Yeah.
And then just play Ysera this turn. I mean, he could even just Death Bite, then Execute, then Ysera.
Point is, he can do just about anything. It's still going to be hard for him
Yeah.
to lose at this point.
He could armor up, pass the turn, AFK, come back, throw some removal out, play Ysera, probably still win. And as I know, like as we say that, we
He's
just put the caster curse on him.
Yeah, he's actually thinking really hard about this turn, too. You can see it on his face right now. He's trying to think of, at all times, what's the most optimal play? What do I have to think about to play around at this point?
If he plays Ysera here, he just doesn't want to get mind controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of the only ways that he'll let Luffy back into the game.
Sure.
He's seen that card. He knows that one card was top decked and one card was thought stolen.
Yeah.
And that last card has been sitting in Luffy's hand since almost the beginning of the game. So going with this play to put on pressure is probably better, just because mind control won't hurt him as much.
Right.
If his Grom gets mind control.
All right, well, that should just about do it. Best play that Luffy's got is Akanai's Circle, and then Death Spite to die?
Yeah, he can
Or a
North
heal.
Star and yeah. And this actually makes it so it's not enraged.
Yeah, that's true.
So if he draws into...
He still needs to pick up a way to remove both of them, though.
Yeah.
Because even at 4, I guess if he self-heals, though. Because I was going to say, even at 4, he's got a Fiery War Axe in hand, so that's still 7 damage next turn guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
That should be all she wrote right there. I'm trying to think of a way for him to survive, and I am not seeing it. He gets up to 8 health, and there it is. Kolento survives.
It took him a while.
Yeah, it did.
3 tries with that warrior. Hasn't had much luck with that thing today. But, I mean, that's good. And
there it is.
no emotion on Kolento's face.
None whatsoever.
Just another day at the office.
Stonewall Jackson.
Yeah. But Luffy, yeah, he played pretty well. He took 2 games when he was down 2-0 in a series. That's a tough position to be in.
Yeah.
Knowing your opponent only has to win once with that last deck. And he almost came back and took the series for himself. But that was the losers match of the group, so Luffy is eliminated, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think if anything, too, Luffy can take away a lot of experience from this.
Yeah.
Getting to play against a guy like Kolento and putting up a match against him as well. You know, I hope to encourage Luffy to continue playing because all in all, he's definitely still put up a heck of a fight today.
Yeah, he's. I talked to him a little bit yesterday. He said I'm allowed to say it, but it's not quite official yet. He's forming a team with, of course, his old team in Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky, he's a player that just finished, I think, top 50 legend in EU last season, and Just Saying, who's a rogue player. So those guys will probably do big things. There are a lot of big open players. Luffy, of course, I mentioned earlier, probably the most competitive wins for non-invite tournaments.
Yeah.
He was #1 ranked on the open ESL tournaments for a long time, so I'm sure we'll see him again.
Yeah, could be a name to watch out for sure. But Kolento does wind up surviving, almost gets eliminated, and it would have been in really bad fashion too.
Yeah.
So up next, though, we do have the winners match, and that's going to be Tom versus Lemurian.
That's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, what do you think about that match?
Lemurian, of course, being the player that we didn't know much about, but he 3-0'd Kolento in his first series. And then Tom, of course, player last year, made it to top 16 at BlizzCon. One of the best Taiwanese players out there. Really successful over the last year, but hasn't really had a big splash in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to this match because both these players really impressed me in their first series.
All right, well, we'll see. Of course, we do want to give a huge shout-out to our generous sponsors. That's Plantronics and Gigabyte. Go ahead and support Hearthstone Legendary Series yourself by supporting those companies so that they can continue to make this all possible for us. And, of course, keep sending in those tweets. That's using hashtag HLS at ESL Hearthstone. And go ahead and send that page a follow as well. We'll definitely be tweeting out for you guys as well. Up next, though, we do have the winners match. The winner of this will get to guaranteed go to the semifinals tomorrow. So there's a lot on the line here. Don't go anywhere. You're watching HLS.
None shall pass.